Jimmy Kennedy of Plainfield is living his dream. The tournament angler and chef has found a way to combine his passions for fishing and cooking, all within an easy drive of one of the best bass lakes in the country.
There we go.
Good one?
A little better.
That's another quality fish. Nice markings on him.
I grew up in Brewer, Mississippi, which is a small community right outside of Tupelo, northeast part of the state, the hill country. And I pretty much grew up literally with a rod and reel in my hand. It seems like my father was a big fisherman, and my buddies and I were bass fishing every day after school. Pretty little fat fish.
He's got some belly to him.
Yeah, he's
also.
Getting there.
He's deep in the body.
Yeah, he's looking good.
Jimmy caught the competitive bass fishing bug early. At age 6, he won a bicycle when he weighed in 12 pounds at a local tournament. His fishing career was interrupted while he attended college at Ole Miss, followed by brief job-related stints in Washington, D.C. and New York City. But when he met a girl in the Big Apple from Plainfield and followed her back to Vermont, all that changed.
Once I moved to Vermont, I immediately started getting back into fishing and joined a club out of St. Albans, and it's been like a full-time habit, passion, job ever since, pretty much.
In 1991, Jimmy opened a restaurant, the River Run Cafe in Plainfield. After 18 years of running the popular eatery, he was finally able to combine his passion for bass fishing with his love of cooking when the Cabot Creamery Co-op hired him as a spokesperson and sponsored him as a bass angler. As a pro, he's since been able to fish most of the top waters in the country. Jimmy grew up in Mississippi.
Yep.
You travel a fair amount to fish tournaments.
Definitely.
What's your take on Lake Champlain?
I have been very fortunate enough to get to travel, especially in the southeast. You know, there's great lakes there. Toho, Okeechobee, and you know, you got Norman in the Carolinas. It's a lot of great lakes, but nowhere, and I'm not just saying this, can you go and catch the quality of smallmouth and largemouth as you can on Champlain. I mean, a lot of guys I fish with and against, and they all say the same thing, that Lake Champlain is probably one of the, if not the best fishery in the United States.
There's one.
Nice, buddy.
He
seems like a decent fish, too.
Yeah, it is a decent fish.
I think that fish heard me talking about what a great fishery it is.
He's buried pretty good right now. So when you say quality, you're talking size, not just numbers.
Size, yes. I mean, like for instance,
like
this fish here.
Right here.
I mean, that is
he is just full of.
That's a good solid largie right there. That's a beautiful, healthy fish. I mean, and you know, he's up here in about 8 feet of water. There's probably a whole bunch more to go with this thing here.
And I'll tell you, on a light spinning rod.
Yes, it's hard to beat, isn't it?
I'm not sure I could handle a bigger fish.
I know, especially with the grass around.
Jimmy is as happy to show off Lake Champlain's bass fishery as he is Cabot's world-class cheddar cheese. We picked a beautiful fall day to fish one of his favorite areas, St. Albans Bay.
I think the appeal for fall fishing is probably threefold. The beauty of it all, the fishing is so good, and it's not crowded. Just really no boats out here today, and the fishing's been pretty good. It could just get better. No sailboats, no motorboats, no jet skis. We're out here by ourselves. So, you know, don't put the boat away. It's just getting better and better, really. This guy's getting ready to feed, kind of a shallow belly, but he's up here eating crawfish, I would imagine.
Nice colors on him.
Yep. All right, we're on him now, buddy.
We're on him now. I should have thrown out. That's a good fish.
Look at that thing. Oh, that's a nice fish, buddy.
I'll let you grab him. He's a heavy fish.
Yeah.
Big head on him.
He sure does have a large head.
While some areas produced a healthy number of largemouths, that was a nice jump. We didn't have to travel very far to find some scrappy smallmouths as well. A little greyhound action.
Man, coming up here and I found out about these things, it was like, this is what I'm fishing for. I love these guys. I mean, that's a good one, but they get a lot bigger than that too.
I'll take that fish.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Whether you're a pro or just a casual angler, Lake Champlain can at times be as challenging as it is huge. One of the keys for success is focusing on one area.
Here we are on Lake Champlain, and it is so large that it's easy to fall into this habit of just running around. We have these boats, these big motors, and a lot of guys will leave Plattsburgh from a tournament and go all the way to Thai. I think the best thing to do is to slowly develop a lake in itself, like here we are in St. Albans Bay or Missisquoi or, you know, Benson Landing down south. Those are lakes in themselves. Even the Gut, you could fish that forever and not know all the spots. And I think that's the one thing that makes it so interesting, because you keep learning every year about this one little area within this place you fished for so long. This lake never gets old. It can't, because it's just so large.
Throughout the day, we caught a mix of smallmouth and largemouth bass, and we often had fish on at the same time. But of course, there's a lot more to Lake Champlain than bass. There's always a good chance you'll land a northern pike or another game fish.
Not a bad fish, though.
Not at all. Not going to do you any good in the bass tournament, but a fun fish to catch.
Yep.
Take that fish.
Yeah, right? And then, of course, the world's best cheddar.
Jimmy has just as much fun with his cooking as he does his fishing. When he's not developing recipes or promoting products for Cabot, he often does cooking seminars for other events and organizations.
When I was probably about 5 years old, my mother bought me a Mattel Easy Bake Oven. And I didn't really know what to think about that, but my dad followed with a BB gun and a .22 and everything else. And I kind of, I guess I never forgot about that Mattel Easy Bake Oven, because I've cooked ever since I was a kid. And I always cooked, you know, called myself a shade tree chef. You know, growing up in Mississippi, we had cooked a lot of venison and fish, frog legs, anything we could find, really.
So other than your family, two loves of your life are?
I'd have to say cooking and fishing.
If you've ever wondered what it would be like to turn your hobby into a career, just ask Jimmy. Between his Mississippi drawl and the Cabot blue plaid wrap on his Skeeter bass boat, he's pretty easy to find.
I think I have been very, very fortunate, not only to have moved to this state that I love so much, and it's just so beautiful, and I love the seasons, and here we are in fall, but to be able to have combined my love of cooking with fishing. Little guy, I think, maybe. I'm not so sure. I have this sponsor, you know, Cabot, for years now. It's a great company to work for. It's allowed me to fish and promote food at the same time. And now I'm working as a chef for this company. And it's just been a real good story for me.
That was on the chatterbait?
Yeah, finally caught one on the chatterbait.
Well, stick with it.
And force feeding them. That's awesome. See you next year, buddy.